In this video, I'm going to discuss my personal thoughts and experiences with trading funded capital, the pros, the cons, how I feel like it affects my personal trading, and how it could affect yours too. So if you are interested in any of these topics, then be sure to stay to the end of the video, and hopefully you learn a thing or two about my personal trading and how it could also affect your trading whilst trading the funded capital. To start off the video, I'd like to say, when you're trading the funded capital, once you have past the first stage, past the second stage, and actually receive that first payout, the stress of actually trading a funded account reduces, I'd say, by around 50%. You know, you could say the stress is actually relieved a lot more than that, but I personally say once you've got that refund, once you've got that first payout, then it is totally risk-free. So you can't lose any money now. You've got your refund, which is the money you paid. You've got your profit split, which is however much. I don't know how much, obviously, depending on the account, depending on the profit you make. Even if it's 1%, you've made profit. You've probably made more than you would have if you put that £500 into an account and traded it and made 20%. That 1% is probably more than that 20% which you could have made with a £500 account. And the reason I think this is because there's literally no money of yours on the line. Worst case scenario, you blow the account, you're still in profit. This can also be a bad thing because it can cause you to trade, recklessly, taking trades you wouldn't normally take, setups you wouldn't normally trade. But I'd say personally, if you've got a strict plan, if you've got strict criteria of when to trade, when not to trade, then this can definitely be a bonus in your trading plan. Myself personally, I trade personal capital, I trade funded capital as well. I was thinking about linking up a trade copier. However, I do actually trade them slightly differently, so I wouldn't really want to be doing that yet until I have a sort of a plan that would work perfectly on both. But the reason I trade them differently is because I know that on the funded account, if I lose a couple trades in a row, there's no money of mine on the line at all. But if I'm on my personal account, it affects the long-term growth. It affects, the overall profit, how much profit you have to make back the losses. And on that funded account, you don't really have the same sort of thing because you get paid out every single month, resets, and then you go again. And you are not liable for the losses which you actually generate on this funded account. You blow the account, you don't have to pay back any of the losses. So it's pretty much a no-brainer in my opinion to actually take a funded account. I'd say the main pro of actually doing the funded accounts is the ROI. £500, I mentioned this previously, £500 in an account, you make 10% profit, you've made £50. £500 is pretty much what it costs to take a $100,000 FTMO. If you pass and you make 10%, you've then made $10,000. Converted, I think that is around 7,300 pounds, something like that. So you've made the same amount, you've got the skill set, but you've just used that money, you've leveraged your money to make 7.5 grand, let's say, instead of £50. So I know which one I'd rather do, and that is one of the main reasons why I actually do funded, because I could put that £500 or that 5 grand into my personal account, but I'm not going to get the same returns. Obviously, slow compound growth is good on a personal account, but you're not going to see the same returns as you're going to see with a prop firm or one of these funded companies. You're just not going to see it. It's just not possible. Going back onto the first point, I mentioned that myself personally, I feel less pressure when trading the funded accounts because of the little risk, and because, I'd say it's easier if you have money outside of trading. Because myself personally, if I blew a funded account, £500, it's not going to matter. Just being honest, I wouldn't even notice if I lost that £500. So there's literally no risk on myself if I fail. And also having this money outside of trading allows me to kind of perform better on the charts. When it matters, when you have to perform, that even if you don't perform, you don't have to make profit. So it also allows you to not have to force trades. You don't have to take 3 to 4 trades per day. I probably take 3 to 4 a month, even up to like 5 trades a month, which is like just over 1 a week, because I can choose the perfect setups. I don't have to make a certain amount of profit. I don't have to make this or that, because I've got businesses which actually return me over 6 figures, per business every single year, without having to force myself to make profit, force myself to trade every single day to actually make that sort of money. So I definitely think this helps, and it doesn't really relate to funded, but I also think it is a good thing to mention to not solely rely on trading income. have other income, have a part-time job, have maybe 6 to 12 months of savings, and this will definitely help your trading, short-term and long-term, your performance-wise. And this is coming from experience too. When I first started trading, I had to make money. I wasn't performing as well. And also this does lead to less pressure on myself trading. But because I have that mentorship, I have a course where I actually teach people to trade. And we have that community. A lot of people I actually see, because they have to make profit, they've either quit their job to actually start trading full time, or they've passed a funded and now they're not used to seeing that amount of profit. They're up, let's say 5 grand, 10 grand, and they just want to make more. This could be the month where they get rich. They could make this amount. They could buy this if they make the profit. You don't really want to do that. Because they haven't seen that sort of profit before, it does sort of add a lot more pressure onto them. Although they're in profit, they want more. And this can also lead to them being then in negative, blowing the account, and then having to go all over again. They didn't get their refund, they didn't get their profit split because they got greedy. They got FOMO. They didn't want to miss the trades. They were probably thinking, okay, I missed this trade, I would have made 10 grand. Next time the setup comes up, they've already made their profit target. They trade because they're trying to make more profit. They see what they can make with a small percentage, so they want to make so many winning trades to actually make as much profit as possible, which I guess isn't really a bad thing, trying to make more profit. But in that sort of situation, it is a bad thing because you're just forcing it when you shouldn't really force it, and this can lead to disaster with a funded account. Because of the rules, you can't lose 5% a day, can't lose 10% overall. If you're overtrading, if you're forcing trades, this can very easily be failed, just by trading too much, pretty much. And it is inevitable when you first start funding, you're going to experience this. If you don't gradually build up, or you go straight for 200k, let's say, you're going to experience this, where you're not used to seeing the losses. It's the same when I started, pretty much. I went with a 25k funding talent because I didn't want to go straight in for 200k because I knew it would probably affect me mentally. And I just worked my way up, and now I have around 500,000 in funding. So, the difference then, 1% on that 25k account was $250, and now 1% is $5,000. So you see the difference. I would have had to make, 25%, would have had to make 20% profit to actually make 5 grand before, but now it's 1%. So you can see the difference. If you're actually losing 1% each time, and that's 5 grand, it can definitely affect you a lot more than 250. In my personal opinion, and from what I've seen with other traders as well. And the main reason why I actually trade funded capital, a lot of people message me saying, why don't you just put all your money into an account and trade it? First response is, that would be absolutely stupid. It's like, let's say you're investing into crypto, you wouldn't put everything into Bitcoin, you would diversify. There's no point in putting everything into one. So I could put, I don't know, 250, 300,000 pounds of my own capital, but why would I do that if I could just pay 900 pounds to get 200,000 in capital, and then I get it refunded with no risk? I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer. You might as well just do it. If you've got the money, if you've got the skill set, you might as well take any funded challenge. Worst case scenario, you fail, or even if you end up in profit, you get the free retry. Don't rush it, and you should be able to pass it. I think 10% a month, certain trading styles won't be able to pass it. So then there are companies that offer, lower profit splits, or the ones that you can get an account straight away without having to do any of the evaluation stages, which I wouldn't really personally do. You have to pay a lot more, and I just stick with the reputable companies in the industry. It's just what I found is the best thing to do. You can guarantee your payout then. You don't have to wait years. You don't have to make excuses to actually get your payout. You just get paid, boom, on to the next. And then you just build up with that company, start scaling, and then you can actually make a lot of money. And what I do with the funded profits is pretty much invest it back into my other businesses, back into my personal account to grow that alongside the funded capital. Because the good thing with the funded accounts, it resets every month. So you make 5%, it resets after you get paid. You make profit, it resets. You make profit, it resets. You don't have to deal with, okay, I'm up 10%. If I lose now, I'm now down to only 7% in profit. No, you've made your 10%, you've got your profit, it's in the bank. As soon as it hits the bank, lovely times, that month was successful. And then you can choose what to do with it. Obviously, you've got to pay tax. Don't go avoiding tax because it will come back to bite you and you will regret it. So make sure you pay your tax. And then pretty much just reinvest it either into your own personal account, because obviously if you're making profit from your funded account, you can still compound your personal account, grow that up too, because the worst thing I actually see people do is go all in. They go all in with funding, they don't have their own account, they don't have, any sort of backup accounts. Let's say you blow the account. You violate one of the news trading rules, for example. It wasn't your fault, you didn't realize there was news, boom, boom, boom. I don't know what happened, you blew the account. Or you violated one of the rules. What are you going to do then? You then spent all your time, all your money on this account. You got a payout, let's say, but you didn't reinvest it. You just spent it. And then you blew the account. You then have no account. What are you going to do? Whereas if you're growing your personal alongside, then it's right there. You've got an account to trade. Let's say you make profit in that personal, it can then fund another challenge. Or use the profit or the refund from your first challenge to pay for a second challenge. And then you can have 2 accounts. You scale up. A lot of the companies actually allow you to get to like a max allocation of around 400,000, 500,000 maybe, depending on the company. They just do this. And 10% on a 400k account is 40 grand a month. You can clearly make 10% if you've passed. So you can make 5 to 10% a month, 20 to 40 grand a month, 1 or 2 trades, 3 trades, let's say, and you're living. You're making £400,000 a year, £500,000 a year, and then you just scale your personal account. Your personal account in a year or 2, 3 years will be enough so that if you blow the accounts, if everything goes wrong, we have a couple £100,000 in a trading account for you to actually just then trade and pretty much live your life. Finally, if there's anyone actually considering getting into funded, then I'd definitely say it's worth it. Do your research though on the companies you're going to go with. Make sure they have good reviews. Make sure they've actually got a good reputation, because you don't want to get scammed. And you're better off just going with funding if you've got the skill set. If you don't, you can't make 10% a month, then don't do funded. If you can't make 10% a month without the rules, without the pressure, you're not going to make it with the pressure. So make sure you can do it on a live account, 10% a month before you actually go into the deep end with a large funded account. Catch you guys in the next video.